everybody, and welcome to this week's Game Changers show with myself, Adam Strong. We're here each and every single Wednesday, 6 p.m. British Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm excited. So anyway, listen, I know that we've got, I was going to say, oops, let's get rid of that. A few technical challenges. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah. So anyway, whoops. Here we go. So anyway, listen. I hope you've all had a fantastic week, like I have. Interestingly enough, I'm really super excited. I want to tell you why I'm so super excited. Is purely because, well, number one, we actually got. I actually got the manuscript out for the new Game Changers book. Now, I'm not actually telling you guys too much, but the manuscript's been sent off to the publisher, right? And I'm excited. That's all I'm going to say is that I'm super excited about it. And yeah, and literally probably in around July, something like that. We're gonna start to give you a few more details about that and how you get involved and things like that. So really excited about that. Third published book. Wow, amazing, fantastic. But listen, how are you guys doing? Listen, how's your week going? We're midway through this week. It's Wednesday. Love to know if you're listening to me live. Do me a favor. Give us a like, share, or comment on the comment section below. Give us a wave, give us a hi, wherever you are in the world. Do me a favor and just make a comment in the comment section below. And you can do that. If you're listening to us on multiple streams, multiple channels, then do me a favor, accept the T's and the C's, which is above my head, which is StreamYard thing, so we know who you are, rather than it come up Facebook user, Twitter user, whatever it is, user, whatever it is. See, there we go, Facebook user. So I don't know who this is, right? So listen, do me a favor, accept the T's and the C's above me so that I know who you are. And if you can't do that, then put your name. That'll be much easier because then I can connect with you guys. So that's really good. But listen, I'm excited about today because we do have a special guest who's going to be joining us really, really shortly. And we're going to have some fun. It's going to be interactive. You get to have the opportunity to ask questions. So yeah, super exciting, right? So now I just wanted to kind of give you a bit of a rundown, actually. So when was it? Yesterday, that's right. Yesterday we have a amazing show on the Game Changers Experience podcast with my good buddy, Mr. Chris Salem. If you don't know who Chris is, been around the entrepreneurial business world for about 20 odd years plus. He's called the Prosperer, if you like. Hi, Sarah. Sarah Franklin. I don't know who this is, by the way. It's probably someone else in my little circle, but I don't know who it is. Let me know who you are, by the way. So Chris is a great guy. We've collaborated on numerous occasions. He's been part of some of our 5-day challenges, our summits. We've done a lot of collaborative work together. And honestly, great guy and really authentic person. And so yesterday, we talked about a multitude of different things, from brand to authenticity, to fear, to limiting beliefs. So much things that we covered in that show yesterday was amazing. Make sure, by the way, if you have the opportunity, all right, then please do me a favor and go to the Game Changers Experience now. Okay, you can do that by going onto Apple or on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it might be. Type in the Game Changers Experience. Make sure you press the subscribe button, and then make sure you also download a few episodes, especially yesterday's as well. Tomorrow we've got another show out tomorrow as well, which is I've actually decided to do a what do they call it? A solo show for tomorrow. And what was let me just think. I'm just trying to think what I was speaking about yesterday. Oh, that's right. I remember. It was all about. I was kind of ranting a little bit, but it was all kind of about. what was it? I'm just trying to think now. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. So I was talking about like, why do you continue to do, like, why do you continue to try to do everything yourself, right? Give me 1 sec, guys. Whoops. Right. So let me just share this to our buddy. There we go. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's really obvious. Everyone tries to do everything themselves. But the reality is that if you try to do everything yourself, number one, you become more stressed. It puts a strain on your health. It actually, you know, if you try to do everything yourself, it's like perfectionism is poverty, right? And Sarah Franklin knows this because I've spoken to her about this before. And it goes for saying for everyone that is listening to this, especially if you're a perfectionist and you think that it's easier and quicker and do everything. I used to think that, by the way, okay, about all of those things. But the reality is that it isn't, okay? I've got a team. I've got a marketing team now, and all the things that they do are the things that I don't want to do because they find it more enjoyable. They find it better to come up with more ideas. It's also going to be quicker and easier to do everything that they do rather than me do it. Okay. So, and the reality is that you can't do everything. That's the reality. Okay. And you know what? It's really hard to let go. You know, being a business owner and entrepreneur, right? One of the hardest things is this letting go analogy of, you know, empowering other people to do stuff and you kind of not interfering. Does that make sense? And it's tough because essentially when you build up a business which you become mostly attached to, right? It's kind of hard because you feel like, well, I certainly felt like, not that they were going to steal my ideas or anything, but you know, that they just it's just like I just wanted to hold on to it, you know what I mean? Continue to nurture it, whatever it is. But it's like anything. If you have a baby, right now, I've got 4 kids, by the way, you guys know that. But I remember, like, my daughter, who is 1, by the way, if I was to wrap her around in cotton wool and to not let her be herself and not let her be herself and trying to kind of not let her be independent, what that's going to do is then she's going to become dependent on me. And it's the same with running a business, right? If you hold on to something, right, then it never naturally grows organically. Does that make sense? And then you inhibit the growth, you inhibit the scale. It's exactly the same with a newborn baby. Or, you know, if you nurture them too much, or if you wrap them up in cotton wool, if you don't let them find their feet, if you don't let them, fall over, create accidents or make mistakes or whatever it is, then guess what? You're less resilient to further on down the line to, you know, that if those things do happen, that it doesn't become such a shock. Does that make sense? You know, and it's difficult. It's a process, but it's also a mindset more than anything else. And, you know, it does take time to really kind of get into that mode of empowerment. But, you know, that is a transition between, you know, being from someone that maybe is running either a lifestyle business or a solo business owner or solo entrepreneur to someone that wants to become a business leader. Because if you hold on to things, right, if you tend to not just hold on to it, but if you tend to not want to let go and you want to do everything yourself, that is actually the opposite to leadership. Okay, it's counter productive to do those things because it doesn't empower anyone. Okay, all it does is it takes you down this road of disempowerment, but more importantly, it just creates stress, unhealthy relationships with your spouse, with family members, with your team, whatever it might be. But it also builds this distrust and this disconnection, which creates this culture of fear of, well, they just want to do it themselves. And then you start to attract your team or attract talent where, you know, they're just going to work just to earn the money, right? And that's not what you want. You want to hire based on attitude, not on qualifications, because qualifications and training, that can all be taught, but without a great attitude, it's not a good thing. So I want you to really think about that, and it's just a really it's a really tough call sometimes. It's a really tough call, and but over time, as you start to learn the ropes, and and I talk about this a lot, right? Your stop doing list, right? You can have a never-ending to-do list, but your stop doing list is where you really become empowered, because it's like, wow, I can now delegate those things out, and kind of free me from the things that I really don't enjoy doing, or what I call low paid, low value activities and things like that. So, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to really think about, really. So, yeah, I mean, literally, so that's tomorrow's show. And yesterday, actually, I just wanted to really kind of tell you something which was really, really fascinating. I interviewed a really good friend of mine who I actually met on Clubhouse. And her name is Paulina Groman. And Paulina is originally, she is Ukrainian, but she lives in New York. And honestly, some of the things that she was sharing was just like, wow, like literally wow. She's going to be on next week's show, actually, where we're going to be sharing some of her golden nuggets, and she's been a serial entrepreneur after she exited Wall Street as a Wall Street banker, an investor and stock trader, and becoming an entrepreneur. It was just a really fascinating interview, and honestly, it was just absolutely eye-opening. One of the best interviews so far of this year. It's really, really great. So, but yeah, I mean, literally fantastic. Some really, really good stuff happening in the pipeline. I'm hoping that our guest isn't too far away. In fact, I'm just going to quickly message you just to make sure that he is here. Hang on a second. Oh, we got some. Okay. Hopefully he'll join us. He's just having a few technical challenges right now. But it's all good in the hood. So, guys, listen, I want to know what you're working on. I want to know what you're working on right now. What's your wins of the week so far? What have you accomplished over the last sort of 5 months, especially at 21? But he's just logging on now, and then we can have some fun interactivity and go from there. So, but listen, love to know what you guys are working on right now. We're working. And believe it or not, we're going to be launching some new stuff as well, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about, not today, but certainly this week as well. All right, cool. Who else have we got online? Oh, by the way, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you click on the link below, because if you subscribe, click on the bell, and then you'll get notified when we actually go live, because we're on here once a week. We have some great guests, actually. And the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is this. This is our business scalability scorecard, by the way. If you haven't had the opportunity to do it, you need to do it straight away. Why do you need to do it? So first of all, like when I first started up as a business, right, I was always asking the question, how do I scale this business, right? How do I make it bigger? How do I grow it? Okay. And these were like really important questions to me. And I just didn't have the tools or the answers or the resources to know how to do it. So now I've mastered that, but it's taken me a lot longer than what it used to. So now I've created a tool, okay, called a business scalability scorecard, which effectively evaluates how scalable your business is. But number two, if you haven't started a business, it answers specific questions based around where you're at. And at the end of it, it actually creates a report. And in that report, it actually gives you tips and strategies about how to make your business more scalable, because effectively, you're either running a lifestyle business or a performance-based business. as Dan Priestley would say. And it's so true. So if you want to run a more of a performance-based business, okay, then you need to know how to scale the business, right? And so there's about 35, 40 questions. It will take you literally about, I don't know, 5-7 minutes or thereabouts. It's just a great tool. So here we go. So listen, without further ado, enough chit chat. We have our guest in the house. That's what we have. We have the guest in the house. He's a good friend of mine, actually. He's originally from South Africa. In fact, we had a South African actually a couple of weeks ago, and you can tell by their accent. And it's a good friend of mine. He's gone through massive adversity, huge adversity, and we're going to sort of delve in deep about that and about how he overcame adversity. He's done some. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's an author. He does a lot of stuff with the Tony. Does some training for the Tony Robbins organization as well. But he also does some great stuff on Clubhouse as well. We hang out, have some fun, and and he actually lives pretty much in my hometown, which is kind of in the UK. And honestly, great guy, such great fun to be with. So without further ado, put your hands together for Mr. Allan Kleynhans.
I love it, brother. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. For some reason, it wouldn't actually open the StreamYard link. It kept telling me to download Chrome, and I'm saying, I've got Chrome already. I'm trying to open Chrome. I don't know what the hell happening. But anyway, I got it right in the end. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Nah, it's all good. Listen, in anticipation, actually, I hope that you guys are listening in. By the way, if you have any questions for Allan, okay, you can do that by clicking on the link below and just saying hi, or give us a share, like, or comment, or whatever it is. But listen, we've got loads to talk about, haven't we, bro?
We've got loads to talk about. Yeah, exactly. How's it going? What's going on?
By the way, your hat that you're wearing, what is the symbol? Is it a symbol on your head?
It's a 4-leaf clover, and underneath it says blessed. It says blessed, and I've got another one, a black one that says live lucky. They blackclover.com. It's an American company. They make caps, and that's all they do is they make really, really great caps. So I've got 3 of them. All 3 of them were gifts. All 3 were gifts, and so I've got a black one. I've got a red one, and this one. Both the red one and this one both say blessed, and the black one says live lucky. And you can actually order them, and you can order them on the website. So they're really great caps. Yeah, so they're very comfortable. And I'm wearing one because my hair is all over the place. You can see. I need a haircut, and the longer my hair gets, the grayer it looks.
It matches your cap, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Hey, listen, you don't need any luck, man. I mean, listen, like, I don't know why you need to wear a lucky cap which has got 4 leaves, because I mean, you don't need luck, man. I mean, you attract what you attract, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think you make your own luck, eh? I think you make your own luck, definitely.
True.
Luck. I love the acronym for luck. I came across the acronym for luck a long time ago. I love acronyms, Adam. I love words. I'm a speaker, and I've learned to use words in a specific way. And I think that language is a very powerful thing when you can, when you can formulate it consciously, and when you can use certain words in certain phrases. And I love acronyms. And the acronym for luck is labor under constructive knowledge. And you make your own luck when you take labor. Your labor, and then you apply yourself, which is action. Obviously, laboring. When you're laboring, you're taking action. But you obviously got to labor in the right way, in a conscientious fashion, using the right intelligent knowledge. Like Napoleon Hill spoke about. You must take specific. Napoleon Hill used those words in the book Think and Grow Rich. Specific and organized knowledge, not general knowledge from your college or school or university, which is general knowledge, and it's just the same theory that's been taught for hundreds of years. Over 100 years, in fact, over a century now. We're still using an archaic education system that teaches people how to answer questions, rather than teaching them how to ask questions. And so when he spoke about specific and organized knowledge, and I came across this acronym, luck, I thought, wow, labor under constructive knowledge. And so I thought, I love that acronym, you know what I mean?
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So listen, I know that we've got a few listeners. We've got a few listeners listening in and that kind of stuff, but give us a quick snapshot. Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Because I mean, I know you pretty well, but I know some of our listeners don't. But give us a quick snapshot.
Well, right now I'm just sitting on the floor in my lounge in my new house, right on the floor, leaning against this couch because it's comfortable. There's a big bay window there. I'm living in a little cul-de-sac. I'm living in Raysbury Village. It's your neck of the woods, isn't it?
Absolutely.
2 miles down the road from Windsor. I've got my best friend of 25 years living in the village right here, and he's managing the local cricket club here, which is awesome. So he's invited me to play cricket. What am I doing? I'm just on Zoom every day. You know what I mean? I'm just coaching. I've got clients in different parts of the world, so I'm coaching face to face on Zoom. I'm on Clubhouse all the time, as you know. Like I haven't been sleeping much for the last 6 weeks, I'm running workshops online. I've been doing that for the entire duration of lockdown since we started last March. And really, what I have been really enjoying is I started in April last year. I was invited to speak on an online summit, and the guy said to me, my friend who was the promoter of this brilliant online summit, which has been running regularly since then, and they've been able to really feed powerful information from some of the best minds in the world to a large number of people around the world in many different countries. And he said to me, "What are you going to sell?" And I said, "I'm not going to sell anything. What I'd like to do is that I'm going to invite people to a private Facebook group where they can come and meditate with me every single day during this lockdown, because they're going to need somewhere where they can find some peace and some tranquility, away from the chaos of what's going on in the world." And so That's been really rewarding. I've been meditating there on a regular basis. Well, we meditated every day, April, May, June, July, August. And then in August, I kind of took a little break for one, and I was reposting the replays of the meditations, because you can just listen to the replay, and a lot of people were listening to the replay. People coming in from India, America, Canada, New Zealand. It was insane, like all over the world, like coming into this group, and it grew organically just by word of mouth, just by invitation. There's 3,500 people now, and people are still watching the replays, and now I'm meditating there twice a week on doing two live meditations twice a week. But that's been really rewarding. I've really enjoyed that, because it's been very good for my own meditation. At one stage I was meditating twice a day, in the morning, and then again at 11. Was awesome. So that's what I'm up to. That's what I love about Clubhouse, Adam. We spoke about Clubhouse. I've been in your room a couple of times, and I was telling you the same thing. It's a great app for collaboration, connection, opportunities, but also just to helping people find their voice. I've got a room running right now with some moderators that are running a room right now, and they're talking about manifesting a magical life. And that really means using the word, the power of the word, the power of your thought, the power of your focus, combining all of that to create a life that you love and live powerfully. Many people don't do that. Unfortunately, the majority of people don't ever do that, which is why you and I resonate so well, because we're both in that game of helping people win. I love seeing people win. You love seeing people win,
Agreed, man. Absolutely, 100% agree. So in terms of because you've got a lot of, I call a lot of strings to your bow. You've got a lot of knowledge, you've got a lot of skills, but what do you really enjoy what do you really enjoy about what you do?
Wow, man. What I enjoy the most, and that's a great question. I don't think anybody's really asked me that, where they've specifically asked me what I enjoy the most. I think what I enjoy the most is I enjoy seeing people fall in love with themselves, Mm-hmm. And what I enjoy the most too is I enjoy seeing people fall in love with their parents, and often for the very first time, because, I was a kid that, always felt like my parents never had time for me. From a young age, I remember having this experience with my father, which I realized very in full blown color during a regressive therapy session, where I suddenly remembered what happened to me at 5 with my dad. And I remember in that moment, I made a decision that my father didn't love me anymore, and I lived out of that decision for the rest of my life until I got to the age of 26, when I began to realize, actually, hang on a second, maybe I've got this perception the wrong way around. Maybe my dad's actually always only ever done the best for me. Maybe he didn't really understand how to express his love for me. And that's when I began to really heal that relationship with him. And it became fantastic, and the last 10 years of my dad's life, we were like this, it was amazing. And since then, I've done a lot of my work is centered around, healing yourself at a deep level, because I believe that when you heal yourself at a deep level, you can really be powerful in your life without worrying about other people's opinions. You seem to be less concerned about what people think about you. You've got more energy, you've got more courage, You take more calculated risks. Your self-esteem goes up. You know, your health improves, your relationships improve. All of that when you heal yourself at a deep level. And essentially, what happens is if you can heal the relationship with yourself and your parents, those three relationships, I've always believed that if you heal those three relationships, yourself and your mother and your father, whether your parents are alive or not, you can still heal that relationship. But if you do that, it provides a newfound freedom and a newfound energy in yourself, because now suddenly you're not carrying all this. You get rid of all the stuff that you have in the back of your mind, or the resentment that you have for your folks, right? And you have for yourself. And I think ultimately for me, the greatest challenge that we face as human beings is we resist ourselves continuously. And if we can stop resisting ourselves, we find that we stop resisting the world around us, and then everything starts to fall into place in a much more easier way. Life becomes more effortless, you know. And then it's just really a case of continuously leveling up, and continuously looking for moments when you're in resistance with yourself, and how can you get out of resistance with yourself as quickly as possible and back into the flow, right?
It's interesting because I know that I know sort of personal subjects aside or whatever it is. And it's interesting how, people, you sort of business owners, entrepreneurs in particular, where they get stuck, right? Whether it be because of, I don't know, a limiting belief, whatever it is, or, would you say that from your perspective, because you're talking about healing, right?
Yes.
And you talk about healing with relationships with family members or whoever it is. Do you think that's one of the reasons why some of the entrepreneurs and business owners out there don't quite make it, because they have maybe a hurt or maybe something that's holding them back, or they've created this perception in their head that they're not worthy, or they're judging themselves? What's your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. If I think about, there's so many examples that come to mind. Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley,
right.
Kim Basinger. There's so many. Tina Turner. There's so many examples of men and women that have risen to the top of their field with extreme success, massive adulation, and adoration from the public. Financial success, pulled in loads and loads of money. Let's take one person, for instance, Mark Tyson. I'm a big fan of Mark Tyson, and Mark Tyson has evolved as a human being, especially in the last 10 years of his life, and he recently spoke on Tony's stage for the Platinum Partnership, where Tony interviewed him in front of, a couple of hundred of Tony's plats, and he spoke about his own evolution in his own life, and how he's got to the point where he's so consciously evolved that he can look back at his own life and recognize that he was so misaligned with who he was, and acting out of a fear-based construct that was planted in his mind as a young boy, where he felt like the only way to survive was to fight and to beat people up, and it fed his ego. And I think, when you look at how much money he made by the time he's 22 years of age, $400 million, the world heavyweight champion of the world, and pound for pound, the best boxer that ever lived, that's ever fought. And many people say, well, how can you say that? It was Muhammad Ali. But I think if you put them in the ring together at their prime, Tyson would have killed Ali, because he was just so brutal and so like almost violently brutal. You know what I mean? And his style, because he was so short, he used to get in underneath the taller boxers, the bigger boxers, and just take them out. With his uppercut was like it could just drop a tree, right?
Right.
But the point I'm making is that because he's still wounded, he allowed other people to lead him down the wrong road, and to take advantage of him. And that's what's happened to every successful person who's ended up losing their fortune, or has ended up losing everything they've created or built. I had the same problem. I got to a point in my career where I got to the point where I was a millionaire and I was so successful and everything was great. And then I imploded really. I imploded and I ended up messing up my whole life. I had an affair, cost me my marriage, lost my business, lost everything I built, and I had to start again from scratch, because there was something inside of me that I hadn't yet healed, or I hadn't yet been willing to look at, or hadn't yet acknowledged. And then when I did that work on myself, everything changed. And now I'm 55 years young, and life has never been better than it is right now. I've got two amazing kids that have both become very conscious, very grounded young people. because they've been around this work a long time, and they've heard me talk about my own challenges, and they've heard me and their mother really go to work on the things that we needed to heal. And the four of us are solid. You know, we hang out on a regular basis. On Friday night, we're all going out to dinner, the four of us, for my son's birthday. We have Sunday dinners on a regular basis, the four of us. We hang out around the kitchen table, laughing, talking about stuff. There's no animosity. There's no hurt. It's all healed. You know what I mean? It's like we live in the present moment. We don't. The only time we look back is to remember the lessons, but we live present. We engage with each other. You know, in the present, we have fun, right? We don't. There's no guilt. There's none of that stuff anymore. But we've done that work, and it wasn't easy for sure. But I think that's what brings successful people down, when they haven't taken care of the foundation in their psychology. And I always tell people, you need a great foundation for great success, a strong psychological foundation. But underneath that, you need a great spiritual foundation. If you don't have a spiritual foundation, which is a subject that scares people because they don't like the word spiritual, perhaps. But let's take energetic, right? Energetic. Let's use the word energetic instead of spiritual. You need a great energetic foundation. What does that mean? That means you need to realize that you are connected to everything, whether you like it or not. Whether you realize it or not, you're connected to everything, and you are merely a conduit for energy. And if you don't have a great spiritual foundation where you are connected to like the grace of the universe, and you recognize that there's something much bigger than you happening through you. Life is much bigger than you. Life knows what it's doing. The problem with us is we try and control life, right? And we try and control life with the way we think it should be or how it shouldn't be. And that's when we get in our own way, right? And we make mistakes, and we have these wounds from our childhood that we haven't really dealt with or healed, and they come back and they bite us. You know, if we don't heal them, they just come, they get in the way. And it's like Carl Jung said, right? To sum it up, to bring it to an end, and I'll hand it back to you. Carl Jung used to say very famously, if you don't make what's in your unconscious conscious, you'll keep bumping into the same things and calling it fate. And that's what people do, right? They make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And then they keep blaming their circumstances. Well, it's not me. It must be you. It must be them. It must be the government. This must be that. It must be the economy. It's not. The one common denominator in every situation in your life that you don't like is you.
It's true. And it's also about taking personal responsibility and admitting defeat.
100%.
You know, 100%. It's so true. Listen, I want to go back to one of the things that we touched on, which is the word flow. All right. Because I think it's a really, from my perspective, and I know that this is going to, you can personally relate to the word flow a lot, especially sort of, you know, what's happened, which I'm not going to go into. But from your perspective, what is flow? Like from your perspective, from an entrepreneurial business perspective, what is flow? What should it look like? What should we look for? And how do we get it?
Flow is something that you can't quite put your finger on. But it is, for me, flow state is being out of your head, completely present, where things are just flowing through you. You just kind of in the zone. And often afterwards, you don't even know how you did it. And while you are doing it, for instance, I can only talk from my own experience of being on stage. So there's been moments when I've been on stage with an audience and I've said something I've never said before. It's just come through me. And I've been completely in the zone, completely connected to the audience, completely out of my head and in the moment, like in my heart, present with the audience, connected. There's no other way to describe it, just connected. And speaking, saying things that in my own head, I'm thinking, like afterwards, I think, oh my God, I hope somebody recorded that because that was amazing. Like I've never said that before. or my team come to me afterwards in the break or after the thing when we're analyzing the presentation or the event or whatever. And they say, wow, I've never seen you like that before. I've never heard you say that before. And I say, man, that was amazing, wasn't it? And they say, and I don't know where, and you know, you can't quite put your finger on where it comes from. And again, if I think of Tiger Woods, I'm a big fan of Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods often says that when he makes those putts, you know, those putts that win him a championship, those putts where he kind of just suddenly comes back from nowhere. You know, he says that he often doesn't remember that putt. All he remembers is standing over the ball. And then he doesn't remember until he's pulling the ball out of the cup, you know, or he's walking off the green. Because in that moment, he's just in flow and he just goes to a different place. And then, you know, and the best way to say it is that, you know, something comes through you. Grace comes through you when you're in the zone and you're in flow state. And there's a great book. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm sure you probably have. But you've heard of Stephen Kotler. He wrote the book Stealing Fire. He also wrote the book The Art of Impossible. I think it's just come out, which my son is reading. And he's also another one he wrote. But in Stealing Fire, which is a great book, I was listening to it as an audio book while I was driving around the country last year. And he talks about when units, teams like elite teams, and he used a SEAL team. He worked with a SEAL team. Like these are guys, these are the best of the best. And to even get in this team, you have to jump through so many hoops to even get in this team. Mm-hmm. And when you're in this team, he talks about how this team moves through the bush together as a SEAL unit, and how they are actually communicating almost telepathically, because they're all so in the zone and they're so in a flow state. It's like birds, right? When they're flying in a flock, right? Birds all turn together in the same direction at the same time, right? It's like there's an osmosis taking place. And that's the flow state. When you combine your years of disciplined effort, your years of disciplined practice, and then you surrender to the moment, and you out of your head and you just show up and you just say, right, you know what? Use me. That's what I always say when I get on stage. I say, just use me. You know what I mean? I'm ready to because I know I've done the homework. I know I've done the practice. I've got 33 years of education in the back of my mind, in my unconscious. And then I just open my mouth and I see what comes out, and then I make sure I've done my homework, obviously, on the audience and the theme, etc. I know why I'm there. I know my purpose. I know my reason for being there. But then when I'm on the stage, I don't really think about what I'm going to say. I just let it come out, And then I'm in that flow state, and that's, every person who's at the top of their game will tell you that where they've just flowed, stuff has just flowed through them. They can't tell you how they did it, or they can't even tell you how they planned it. It just happened.
Yeah, very true. Now, interestingly enough, right? And I love flow state because for me, it's just like everything naturally occurs. Do you know what I'm saying? Without it being forced, things like that. But my question is, from your perspective, because you've experienced this, what disturbs a flow state? What is it that we need to be? And I'm a big believer of this, right, Allan?
Yeah.
Perceptual awareness, right? If you're more perceptually aware about your surroundings, your environment, what your self-sabotaging habits are and things like that, what disturbs flow state from your perspective? What do we need to look for?
Well, talking from my own experience, and also when I work with speakers, because that's what I do, is I speak professionally. So I run this program called $1 Million Message, where I work with these people and help them to stand on top of their message, to turn their story into a testimony of how they came through challenges, etc. And then to be able to speak that story in a powerful way where they're not triggered by it anymore. They're not a victim of their story. And I help them to get into that state where it can just flow through them, where they know that story inside out. But what interrupts them or me when I'm in that, if I get interrupted out of that flow state, it's finding myself in my head thinking about what I'm going to say next, or why is that person doing that, or why is that person standing up in the back of the room, or getting distracted, getting interrupted by my own thought process, or by my own voice in my head, by the conversation in my head. When you get interrupted, it's usually you get interrupted and you get in your head. And so you've got, there's this phrase called uptime. When you're in uptime is when you are connected to what you're doing. You're not in your head, you're in your heart, you're just flowing, right? And you're in the zone. Like it could be creating content perhaps, or writing a book, right? Like you said to me about writing this chapter for this book. And, when I wrote it, I was just like in the zone, and I ended up writing twice as many words as you wanted. And then my challenge was like, okay, cool. How do I take out half the words that I just wrote, right? Without taking out the meat of the story. But yeah, when you get interrupted, it's because you get interrupted out by your own conversation usually, or you get distracted by something else around you, and it takes your eye off the ball. You take your eye off the ball, and suddenly now you're inside your head having a conversation. And in a speaking personally, by talking of being on a stage, that experience of being on a stage, when I've got in my head, it disconnects me from the audience immediately, and the audience feels it unconsciously, and I feel it, right? And then you have to build that rapport again very quickly. Yep,
and it also affects the trust, because you talk about connection a lot. Connection is all about trust, right? How you effectively build trust with people, but effectively it can take seconds to lose that connection, which then takes time to then rebuild the connection to build the trust. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Because we talk about the speed of trust, which I think is the currency, the currency that we're all looking for, but we battle to find every single day. It's hard to find trust, isn't it? It's hard to build trust, and it can be taken away like that. It takes a long time to build it, can lose it like that. Stephen Covey Jr. wrote the great book, The Speed of Trust.
Right.
And talking about, how do you build trust quickly? How do you build that connection quickly? And you know yourself, it takes 7 seconds to create an impression with someone. Your first impression, 7 seconds, it's done. How do you show up? And these days, it's changed a little bit these days, because look how we do business these days. We show up in t-shirts, hoodies, caps. You know what I mean? No shirt, not shaved.
We don't give a shit. There we go.
You're not worried about that anymore, right? But in the old days, you show up in a tie, a suit. You know what I mean? You shave your hair's combed back. Because you're looking to create that impression with the way you dress and all that kind of stuff. But nowadays, I think it's interesting, because I think social media has changed the way we interact with each other, because because it's about image, it's about perception, it's about how we look on camera and all that kind of stuff. However, what I love about, and coming back to Clubhouse, why I love this Clubhouse app, because all you have is a voice. You've already got this audio, right? You've got a photograph, obviously, and people have got great photographs for sure. They can, you can Photoshop a photograph. You can make it look extremely lovely. And my photograph is it's been cartooned. It's got a cartoon feel to it. It makes me look a lot younger, obviously, but I do look quite young. But the point I'm making is that you've just got your voice. So you can hear someone's intention in their voice. You can hear energy in someone's voice. You can hear someone's heart in their voice. Yep. And you can also hear ego in someone's voice. You can hear disconnection. You can hear an indifference in someone's voice. You can hear a lack of energy. You can hear an arrogance in someone's voice. So that's what I love about this app, this Clubhouse app, because really it's like making telephone sales, right? You've done telephone sales yourself. I had a job when I was young where I was just on the phone all day long. And if you can't connect with someone quickly, you lose them so quick. Nowadays I get so many sales calls. As soon as someone picks up I pick up the phone. I'll always give someone 5 seconds. I give them a chance. But if I hear, I'm calling from this company, I just put the phone down, man. I haven't got time. I haven't got time to say I haven't got time. I just put the phone down. But if I answer the phone and someone says, "Hey, Allan, this is Tom. Listen, my man, I've got to tell you something." Then I'm going to listen. I'm going to say, "Okay, cool." Because I'm intrigued. Listen, as they say, Adam, yourself. Nobody loves selling more than a salesperson, right? I love being sold to, because I'm a salesperson. I love to watch people. I love the way people approach me. I'm always looking for how they do it and all that kind of stuff. But that you've got to be able to connect with someone quickly. That speed of trust, which is what you're talking about. That connection. How do you make someone feel safe quickly? Because when people feel safe, they open up to you. And when they open up to you, they're going to tell you what they're really looking for. And that's what we're all looking for, is we're looking for solutions,
Yep, absolutely, 100%. I said this to all the guys actually listening. I said, the new currency of 2020 and beyond is trust. Trust is the new currency of today. Not money, not time, not speed of implementation. It's trust. Because without it, that's it. It's game over, especially in the digital world, my friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All good. Listen, I'm conscious of time, but love to know what you're working on right now, because I know that I know you've got some wonderful things that's happening. We're doing some great stuff. We're actually Allan's already let the cat out of the bag, by the way. We're doing some stuff together. We have actually we're launching a new book together, which is going to be launching October of fourth quarter of this year. So that's going to be really exciting about that.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting, brother. I'm so excited about that.
It's going to be boom. Trust me, it's going to be absolutely boom, because it's going to not only impact so many people around the world, like literally, this isn't the type of book where you're like, oh yeah, it's just someone's story, just telling us a little bit about. But listen, I'm not into like storytelling. Well, I am, but there needs to be a balance between storytelling and here is hard-hitting content that I need to go and implement myself. Do you know what I'm saying? You need something which is tangible, right? That people can feel. It's like, I've been there, I've done that, and now I've got the keys. Damn. So, but listen, what are you working on right now, Al? Tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now.
Right now, I'm working on, you know, my Clubhouse, what's the word I'm looking for? My Clubhouse presence is the word I'm looking for.
Right.
You know, I'm doing that on a daily basis. There's a couple of rooms that I'm in every day, where I'm just adding value and I'm building a following there. And really what I'm looking to do is bring people to my meditation group so they can find some peace in meditation. I believe meditation is a very, very powerful tool that we should all be doing for at least 20 minutes a day, once a day. If you can't sit in silence for 20 minutes a day, then you should practice sitting in silence for an hour a day, as Sadhguru says, right? Right at the beginning of lockdown last year, Sadhguru said, this will be interesting for you people in the West because you can't sit for 5 minutes, right? And now you're locked down on your own. What are you going to do? You're going to have to sit, learn how to sit still on your own for hours. And so that was funny. And he said, if you can't sit still for 20 minutes, you have to practice sitting still for 1 hour. So, so I want to introduce people to my meditation group because I know it really helps people and it's free. There's no agenda there. I've got a workshop coming up in July. At the beginning of July, my next Awaken online virtual summit, which is going to be, at the moment, you know, the rules around lockdown are going to change on the 21st of June. So I think everyone's waiting to find out what's going to happen there.
In the UK.
Yeah, in the UK. So you know, I've been wondering, you know, do I promote it? Because what happens if we all suddenly are allowed to go outside full time, and then everyone's just going to want to be outside? They're probably not going to want to sit on a Zoom call for 4 full days or 3 full days. However, what I am working on is I'm working on coming to live in Cyprus next year with you, and and also I've got my retreats. My retreats will be opening up again next year in Bali, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to running my next $1 Million Message in person, which I think will probably be early next year. So that's going to be great fun because we'll be doing back to live events. I can't wait to do that.
Very cool.
But right now I'm working on my book. So I've set myself a target. I've been trying to write this book for 15 years. I think it's the right time for me now. I'm 55. I've got to a place in my life where I'm feeling very, very comfortable with who I am. I feel like I'm really on purpose now, like never before. I feel like I'm just in the zone, you know, and I'm also I'm paying attention. And I love those 2 words, pay attention. And I say them all the time to my team, to my mentees, to my clients, pay attention. And I'm paying attention a lot now. And more than ever, I've always been into consciousness. You know that yourself, right? I've been talking about consciousness for 22 years. Like, how can you be more conscious of what's going on between your ears? What are you saying to yourself every day? Pay attention, because you're probably saying something that doesn't serve you. And when you catch yourself saying something that doesn't serve you, stop doing that immediately, and then change it to something that serves you. Just flip it around immediately. Just say, hey, oh wow, I caught myself saying something that doesn't serve me. Okay, good. Let me stop that right now. What can I say right now? Okay, cool. Let me tell myself what a great person I am. I'm enough. I'm lovable, and I approve of myself. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm on the way. Life is happening for me, not to me. The universe has got my back. Money is flowing to me in an avalanche of abundance. Just whatever comes to your mind, just say something. Even if you just say something like this, I'm feeling good. Life is good, and I'm moving in the right direction, or whatever it is, right? But just in the moment, catch yourself when you're giving yourself a hard time, and pay attention to what you're saying inside your head. And then flip it around and support yourself. Because if you don't become your best fan, who is going to do that for you? Nobody else.
Exactly.
Right?
True.
You have to be your own best fan, and you're going to practice it every day. And every single day, you'll notice, if you pay attention, you'll notice every day, all day long, you're probably giving yourself a hard time. And you've got to stop doing that. Because when you praise your nervous system by saying something like, you know what, I'm doing the best I can. I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'm going to be my own fan. I like myself, and I'm getting better and better every day in every single way. If you just do something like that, something small like that, or even if you just said, I'm enough, I'm lovable, and I approve of myself, and you said that 200 times a day, then that's going to have a big impact on your nervous system. It's going to have a big impact on your unconscious, you know, and so so just pay attention, and then just keep staying conscious, you know, as much as you can. And so that's what I'm working on, and that's why I say I'm at the right time in my life right now. I think I'm ready to really write this book now and revisit the memories. You know, and I realized that I have to revisit memories that perhaps in the past I haven't been ready to do yet. You know, up until that point, I wasn't ready to do it, but now I'm ready, I think.
Got it. So listen, guys, I have a request from you guys that are listening in, right? I want you to be Allan's accountability buddy. I know he loves accountability because it's about.
I've already got a bunch of them, man. I had to declare it on Clubhouse. I got a bunch of them on Clubhouse who said, right, we're going to check in with you regularly. Let me see what's happening. So,
listen, guys, even if you're an Android user now, by the way, if you're an Android user, you've got no excuses to not be on Clubhouse because you've got Apple users and Android users. If you want an invitation, direct your message to our team and we'll get an invitation out to you. And then you can listen to Allan, myself on Clubhouse or whatever it is. It's Allan Kleynhans or Adam Strong. Follow us on Clubhouse or whatever it is. And come and join some of our rooms. Honestly, some of the conversations just crack me up. Seriously. And I've met some wonderful people on there. In fact, I was just saying to the guys, Allan, I met a lady called Paulina Goman. Actually, she's originally Ukrainian living in New York City. Absolutely amazing lady. And she's going to actually be on the show next week. So really looking forward to listening to that. And I'm sure that you guys are. So listen, Adam, Al, do you want to say?
Adam,
yeah, go.
That reminds me, Adam, I've got a couple of people I'm going to push your way for your show. There's one lady I met on Clubhouse. She was non-verbal. She was mute, in other words, mute, right? Or non-verbal for 13 years.
Whoa.
She did not speak for 13 years, man. And now she's found her voice. And when she speaks, she's got a great sounding voice too, great melody to her voice. But now when she speaks, she's got so much wisdom, man. It's amazing. I want to push her your way. She'll be a great guest for you.
Very cool. I appreciate it. Listen, I just want to say thanks very much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, sir. And guys, listen, if you have any questions for Allan, do me a favor. You can hit us up and use the comments in the comment section below. Or what we'll do is we'll also put one of Allan's links on the links below.
No, you can just go to my IG, my Instagram. That's the easiest way. And on my Instagram, you can see I've got a link tree there.
There you go. Perfect. So go to Allan's Instagram, click on the link tree. You can connect with him on there. So guys, listen,
I would encourage people to, if you click on the link tree, go to my Facebook group, my Awakened Soul Facebook group for free meditation every day and request to come in the group. And then you can, if you can't make the live meditation, I'm doing another one on, I think I'm doing one, is it Friday morning, I believe? Or anyway, I can't remember. But if you go to my Facebook group, request access there. And even if you can't make the live meditation, you can watch the replay in your own time. And I recommend you do it in the morning and the evening. And you will sleep better and you'll have an amazing day.
There you go, guys. So listen, you have been told. Make sure that you listen to us on the next Game Changer show next Wednesday, 6 p.m. British Standard Time. And we're looking forward to seeing you there. So without further ado, from me and Allan, have a fantastic week. Take care. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Adam.